Well,
You know her well. She's finally back to catch mouse tail. Huh. Hey.
She's been very good today. She's been dealing with a storm. She was fine, actually. She slept.
That's cats. You're always like, oh, I'm worried the cat's gonna be like scared of the storm, and they're just zonked out somewhere. They don't give a shit.
One of my cats is scared of storms.
She spent all day like near us. Often she'll go off and like sleep, but she spent all day near us, which is why she's just come into the room because she's just gone from.
My cat's scared of everything, but storms. Speaking of scared of everything, what's the plan? He's still here in the tavern. Serena might be sometime.
Depends on how long he lasts.
But if if you assume you're going back to the camp or whatever, or you could slip a note under the door or something like.
I would actually. Sorry,
go ahead.
Go.
No, go ahead.
Okay, I would actually attempt to be fun with Vale and ease tension.
There's plenty of games being played around. There's no Call of Mountain Guard. But many dice games, something very similar to poker, and there's a table where they're playing a game that best be described as looking like a 3D magnetic chess. Should you play some games?
Okay, I insist that Will say what he was gonna say before I say the next thing that I say.
Okay, so I would see that you were like trying to be more friendly and try to ease tension. I would just be like, well, the bard over there has to take a break eventually, and I'm sure that they know a couple of stories. And I look at like Gilwyn and I'm like, they must know something about stories of anything. Like they must know something. So maybe me and Gilwyn or me and someone try to get some information from the bard when they take a break.
Gilwyn is looking longingly at the wall.
Yeah, fair enough.
You're so cruel.
Well, you should have left him at the building, but I kind of forgot about it and described he was with you, so he's...
I was like, oh, you'll stand out because you
keep watch.
You should leave here. Oh.
I think you ought to, Riley.
Well, if you'd like, let's wait for them to take a break so we're not to interrupt their performance. Is the performance good?
It's different.
Okay.
He's playing a theremin.
no, but
what
close.
Even is that?
Oh, you'd recognize it when you heard it.
Theremin.
Yeah.
There's actually a mermaid instrument that sounds like the theremin. But seemingly there's some talent. It's definitely a different sort of kind of music, but eventually they will stop. They appear to be a youngish drow man wearing the usual tight-fitting bardic clothing. There's comparative fashions for the musical types, even worlds apart.
So I would grab like a drink as well and say, maybe this time if we end up seducing him, you let me do it? And then look at Vale with a smile and then start walking over.
So I would if Vale goes to get up to follow her, I would pull him back down and be like, the samurai was telling me war stories.
Was he? Great. What wars he fought in?
I don't care. I wasn't really listening. I kind of want to hear about your war stories.
I've also not been in any wars.
Okay, tell me a fun story about the past.
One time, we fired a cannonball that was two smaller cannonballs with a chain connecting the two. It's designed to cut through an enemy's mast. However, a minotaur got in the way. It cut him in two. But he didn't die.
He didn't die?
No, not for a good 3 minutes. And he crawled to the top of the ship at the back, and he reached up, and then he died. But his legs died much sooner. They really stopped moving pretty much straight away. But and then of course we made fun of one of the gunners because he missed the mast, and the ship got away.
Oh no. Did that come back to haunt you? And like to the server, like drinks.
No, why would that come back to haunt me?
I don't know. Your enemy got away. Maybe.
Oh no, it was a merchant ship. Like that was a guard, but pretty much
Gotcha.
unarmed. Really defenseless, debatably innocent. But they had money, so
And goods, presumably.
maybe. Not really sure. They were the merchant fleet, so it's just kind of what we did. Didn't really think about it at the time. I mean, now I think about it. What if there was someone like Gil on board? What if every human is kind of like Gil?
Gil's like, in my experience, they are.
In one way or another, right?
Excuse me one moment. There appears to be a small rodent tearing up my carpet.
Swoosh! Riley, you go over to this bard, and they have this instrument that's kind of like there's clearly some like clockwork mechanicalness to it. It's kind of like a hurdy-gurdy auto player type thing. It still requires quite a bit of playing to get it to work, but there's some mechanics that make it sound like a much bigger band playing, basically. And it seems to be busted, and like they're sort of sitting by the side of where the bard usually plays, kind of like they've got like a fork, a chopstick, and like they're trying to jam it sort of into the mechanics, try and fix it.
I'd walk over and just put like the ginger beer down next to him and say, "Looks like you need to take a break."
Yeah, this thing, it's an old piece of shit. It's been in my family for like 3 generations, so that's like 1,500 years or something. It's
I mean, I could take a look at it if you want.
Well, of course, if you think that's the right idea.
Starts taking a look at it, making very small talk as I do. Yeah, so how long have you lived here?
All my life.
Which is how long?
120 or so.
Fairly young.
Yeah, that's what they say.
So, how about you tell me everything you've ever heard about Haraga, the Firewalker?
Okay, fair. He fails massively. There's sort of like oh, well, I've heard that she genuinely can tell the future. The reason why the Daimao has given her such a place of power, praise be the usurper queen for giving a Daimao such power to do so, is that she can glimpse the future, but even more than that, she can make the future happen, and she has the will to do it. Oh, it's fascinating. I sometimes think that it must be some sort of old bardic magic, maybe, or something,
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. So, have you ever met her yourself?
No. I tried to perform at the war camp once, and they did not allow me in. I was thrown out, and then I fell all the way down the hill, and it busted up my good pants.
Why didn't they allow you in?
Oh, I am not of a high enough standing to perform for the military.
You think they'd let me perform if I prove I'm good?
It's not that you're good, it's that you're not of a high-class family. The performance families would perform for the troops.
I understand. So, who's the last person that might have performed for them?
Oh, I don't
You must have
know.
heard.
There is a grand singer called Nidale. She sings these, all the hymns, all the tunes that bring the force, the power of the usurper queen to the military. She performed to them.
Hey, some of us can't always get work, huh?
No.
And she'll go to hand back the thing. I would have, if it was a very simple fix, I would have tried to fix it.
You could have just cast mending on it and got it to fix up.
Perfect.
Yeah. And he'll take it back and be like, "Hey, my thanks, blessings to you." And we'll kind of get back to performing.
I would walk back over to the table and just give them all the information that I basically just found out, saying mainly, so one way in is to pretend like we're performing for the military. They seem to have performers who go and perform as long as they are high-ranking enough and noble enough.
That sounds good. We're neither high-ranking nor noble.
Well, we have one kind of noble person, and you seem like you're good at taking on personas. I know I'm good at taking on personas.
They all think that Serena is blessed by the god of the serpent.
Exactly.
I think we play that angle.
Do snakes play good music?
If you listen real hard, you might hear some now.
They might enjoy good music. Have you never seen a cobra?
No.
Well, I could turn you into a cobra, but that would be weird. And we'd really know if you enjoyed it or if you just, I don't know. Anyway, maybe it is easy for her to get in, but might not be the easiest for us to get in with her unless we have some type of ruse.
Well, she must have a troop, no? The glory of the music, you know, you need multiple backing singers and slaves and whatnot.
Exactly. So?
Right?
Yeah, slaves, sure.
It's a requirement down here, really, I think, you know.
Yes.
The rich people probably have a shoe slave, a towel slave, a bath slave. You know, probably spend their entire lives doing this one thing.
Dira breaks a pencil.
Reaches over and just like pokes the pencil and casts mending so it fixes.
Fixed it again.
She's willing to do this as many times as you break it. She's just like OCD almost. Like, okay. Oh, okay.
No, at
right.
the end of this little song and dance, she'd be like, "Thank you, I needed that."
You're welcome. I get it.
That's useful so far. You guys have done well. You didn't need to, you know, but hey. So, I guess now we're waiting for Serena. Would anyone like some of this sake? It's nice. I like it.
How long does it take Serena to, you know?
It depends entirely on the man. Yeah, a bottle, maybe. He is a samurai after all, and quite drunk. And plus, I want to hear more of Vale's stories. I'm in a story listening mood now. I'm sure he had great stories. It's just I didn't care about him. Driving it home.
Well, you know, I'm not really sure I have all that many good stories.
Come on, stories. And
Gil will say.
Just that's how I would like the time to have passed. Like,
Gil would say, you know, well, there's lots of stories from the good old days.
Well, Gil, why don't you tell the story? I fixed the music box up there. Vale, do you want to dance?
You know, I don't usually dance. I suppose I could, but maybe he gives Indira a look. And he says, "Why don't you tell the story? Perhaps the song of the flame-kissed maiden."
How about you do it? You're such a better storyteller.
It relates to Gil. That dance, then? Vale, like, he double takes. Like, he doesn't double take, but he, like, gives you a longer look, like, and you see him flip between, like, his state that he's been in, and, like, he looks a bit embarrassed. Maybe shy when he stands up. He's like not the usual. What are you digging? I'm so
He's
sorry.
embarrassed because his cat is a naughty girl.
She just wants to be loved. And she knows that digging the floor gets my attention. At
Yeah.
least digging the cardboard. Yeah, Vale looks a bit like embarrassed when he stands up to dance. But he would dance, would he?
She would totally take the lead on whatever dance there is. 100%.
Correctly so.
Yeah.
Can't have a man lead a dance?
That's what Vale's used to.
Yeah, he's
Cool.
historically been,
What was her name?
parallels.
It began with a Y, didn't it? I want to say... I need to
The
think
moon
of it.
elf?
Yeah.
I could find it, but I don't give a shit. So, some time passes. It's hard to tell. A respectable amount of time passes.
I was like, we're talking 2 minutes, 2 hours here, Ollie. Come on.
And Serena can make her way back down to the rest of you.
Reappears on her own, yeah.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
still up there.
He tuck it out.
Well, that was rather pleasant. I take it from the amount of conversation that you got an equal amount of information out of it, Indira.
Sorry? I'm so sorry, I missed that.
I was just saying that was a rather pleasant experience all round, but I hope, judging from the conversation, that you got some information out of it as well.
Hi. We're scared now.
Are we?
There's truth to both of her monikers. She can see the future. She can cast fire magic. It comes from a crystal ball that she has. We need to find a way to separate that from her. She's not to be trifled with, I don't think.
Yes, that much is certainly true. But, I mean, no matter how well she has some all-powerful ability to see the future, there has to be limits. And all we need to do is be stronger and perhaps quicker or sneakier than those limits.
I'm all ears.
Well, unfortunately, without knowing those limits, it's difficult to plan, but
So, if we are able to gain access to the camp as a troop of bards, troubadours? I don't know the terminology really. And if we gain access to the camp, we perform for hopefully Haraga, perhaps whoever decides to stop tearing up my carpet. And then we request to stay the night in the camp as we are from far away. Overnight, we make our way to this door and we make our way through and we confront Haraga and kill her.
That sounds like a great plan. The only thing I would add is maybe, given the opportunity, steal her crystal ball to separate her from it instead of...
Indeed.
You know.
I'm not entirely sure how that would be possible, however.
I'm sure we could be stealthy in a way.
I mean, facing her alone, I doubt there are many individuals in all of Jarviskjir, or indeed below Jarviskjir, that can stand up to the five of us. Regardless of her, whether or not she has full access to her powers. Although, admittedly, if she is weaker, that just makes things easier.
I'm just saying, it sounds like she will be formidable at worst.
Well, not just that, but if we fail, I'd rather her have to find her crystal ball again. Because I'm a bitch like that.
No, that is an excellent point. Well made.
Gotta be honest.
Yeah, that's a good point as any, I suppose. So, when do we want to put this plan into action?
That's up to you guys.
First, we ought to decide on our roles. Gilwin, of course, is a slave. He's a backing singer, whatever. He writes the songs behind the scenes, but never gets any credit. And I think, Riley, perhaps you ought to be the lead?
That makes sense. I can always say that I used to perform with Nadalia.
And I possess very little skill when it comes to music.
Gilwin nods.
You know, I've always had more important things to learn. Like saving my pathetic human friend's life over and over.
I mean, I can sing shanties, but that's about it.
So
Gilwin would
perhaps-
say, well, they wouldn't understand the words of the shanties. Which might be a good thing. You could say it's some foreign song from a far off land.
I'm an okay singer, not the worst.
And it could, in fact, work in our favor because we are encouraging the men to go abroad, go up above, because we are saying this is what the music is like on the surface.
Well, maybe we shouldn't say that it's surface music.
Yeah, I think that might not be the smartest.
Right, yes, it's from the Mind Flayers. They probably sing sea shanties, right?
Well, as a while I have had no particular training or experience in it, my mermaids are known for their enchanting songs, you know?
Indeed.
Although when I sing, I have a habit of enslaving the minds of those that listen temporarily.
That's a good thing. Do they know they're enslaved?
I believe. That is a good question. Depends. With a basic song, probably not. But they would know that they had been acting unusually, I would imagine. Even if they
They'll
do
just
know
make
it
sure they
not.
have plenty of drink. I act quite unusual with lots of drink.
Vale gives you a bit of side eye. So, is the plan to do this today, tomorrow? I see no reason why we could not arrive in the night. Or towards
Agreed.
the afternoon, evening.
It wouldn't be necessarily bad to arrive at the night, potentially stay, perform the next day, stay again. In case we fail the first night, we'll have a second night, as long as we're not detected.
It would also mean that we do not have to risk that if we can do what we came for on the first night, we potentially can leave without actually having to perform. And let us be honest, no matter if we have some performers, that does not a performance make. We are not. It is not our normal role, shall we say?
Yeah.
Agreed.
We are no.
I actually
Musical
am
troupe.
a performer. It is part and parcel with the whole, you know.
Alas,
I practice an art form.
Alas, dear Vale, that is a different kind of performance. Although you are welcome to dance over your swords while we are singing and playing music if you wish as part of the performance.
Dance over them?
That is the normal thing, isn't it? You do not generally dance with a sword, you dance over or on it, I believe. I feel like I've seen a seaman or two do that before.
I'm sure you have seen plenty of seamen do plenty of things.
That I have, Vale.
So we decided we go tonight.
Okay.
Tonight.
Which you spend a long time in a tavern, so by the time you get to the war camp,
Yeah, we sober up first. Just enough. We still got.
None of you got completely sloshed. Yeah.
I've still got my afterglow.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh god.
You
After shade for Serena, though, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. You can travel up to the war camp, where, as before, although you're on the other side, going up the hill towards the camp of drow warriors and a couple of towers. You hear the bows stretching from atop the towers, and there's two samurai sort of stand in front of the path into the camp, and will call out, "Hold! What is your purpose here?"
I would step to the front and put my hand out for Serena.
Yeah. Serena, when you say put your hand out, as if for her to take it, or to
Yep.
Yeah. Serena moves forward, places her hand, and goes to. She doesn't. She is going to cast Fell Whisper, but is just going to. But it's not going to really contain anything. It's just going to be sort of. I will leave the talking up to you. Just make it sound like you're listening to me.
And I'd reply, absolutely. Just making sure we play the part. I'd look up at the guards and say, "We are here to perform. Do you not recognize her?"
Deception roll.
All right, hold on.
Immediately.
Am I good at deception? I think I'm good at deception.
I mean,
I
you're a
should be good at
bard.
deception.
You're a bard.
Ready for this? Boom.
Oh, a fat can.
Dang.
I do not recognize. Do you recognize her? I do not recognize her. There is no performer issued on the timeline.
You think she can have a timeline? She's one of the busiest people down here. She performs when she can, and she blesses the people.
Then, what is who is this? Give us the name.
I would whisper to her, if I say your actual name, we're good, right? Like, they're not going to try to kill us?
I should not be known down here. Again, it's cast by a whisper. It's not like full.
This is Serena? You've not heard of Serena?
I do not believe we have, my lady. Please extend our most sincere apologies for our ignorance.
We'll see. Go get someone who's heard of Serena.
And one of them will kind of like march off into the camp.
I would continue to walk forward and see if they shoot at us, like if they heads up or anything.
They don't shoot at you. The samurai will that's still left at the guard will kind of step back, but you can tell that everyone's still on edge.
Yep, they're on edge, but I don't mean to seem threatening at all.
Yeah,
I'm just stepping forward as if like we're having a conversation.
Yes, and yeah, Serena is obviously doing her most regal.
Maybe even make your little throne appear or something.
Yeah, actually, that's that. But if they're gonna, after a few seconds pass, it's clear this is gonna take a while. Just up comes the shadowy throne.
And I'll poke at Gillen. I'll be like, "You need to be her footrest."
He will do so.
And I'll pass her like a water skin and like bow and sort of back away.
After a few moments, it'd be around 5 minutes, because again, these are elves. That's not much time to them. Someone does approach from the camp, but not a drow. This person has the upper body of a drow, the lower body of a gigantic spider. Very elegant features, very well-placed steps. almost seductive despite the very strange form. It does fill you with some degree of terror, but also a calmness as well to see
Beautiful.
them. And yeah, there's a beauty. This drow has red tattoos in some places that do kind of look like licks of flame on the cheeks, on the arms and things, and is wearing some degree of armor, very delicate loops of chain that kind of dangle down over her midriff and things, and will actually speak in Elvish. And who is this ascended of the Serpent Queen that comes here? Serena? I do not think I know a Serena, and neither does Lady Hiraga, who runs this camp. I will be speaking on her behalf, as one ascendant to another.
Do you understand Elvish? Oh, no. Damn it!
You are full translator.
Yeah, I'm full on translator. I lean in.
She spoke in
actually,
English, right?
Yeah, she spoke, so you understand it.
Vale would take a step forward and whisper to Riley in common.
Yep.
No, so that the lady doesn't wish to speak, as she only uses her voice for singing.
And then I lean over to Serena again. I whisper, "Don't worry, we got this."
Famous last word.
Not regally.
Well, she can't speak to you. I am speaking for her because she wishes to rest her voice.
To rest her voice, what is this silly idea? Give me some answers, slave.
Absolutely. We are here to perform. We've heard that it bolsters the people you have here, all the soldiers. They get to enjoy, from time to time, a performance. And we figured since you might need it now, that we'd show up now. And we figured with her title and who she is, you'd be happy to have us.
Can you give me a deception check, please?
Yep. After all, we're rather important.
The Drider slowly steps up, almost struts up very close to you. Very, very tall creature. You know, this is maybe 9 feet tall or something, on very long legs. Kind of looks down at you. This is a very long look at Serena, trying to place you. Before nodding. The time to storm the above. The time for the will of the Usurper Queen and the Serpent Goddess is ahead. Very well. And turns. See that the Lady Serena has the finest lodgings. Fetch the priestesses of the Serpent Goddess. And will sort of march into the camp, giving more commands, and they kind of do echo through the camp somewhat.
That's
you
awesome.
are allowed in.
Good job.
I assume that will be explained to me on the way as well.
Yeah, I would wait for you to cast your message again, waiting, you'd be like,
Yeah.
and I'm like, and I would say it again so it's quiet, at least in common.
Okay.
You're resting your voice, don't speak to anyone. I'm speaking for you. Everywhere you go, I'll go.
Very quickly, that Drider kind of disappears behind the towers and the tents. What you notice is that the camp looks nearly exactly the same as before. There's still drow meditating. There's still food being served. You get to some sort of conclusion that there is no night and day here. It is just continual. People still have a sleep schedule. But it's almost, people complement each other's sleep schedule and things. As you walk, priestesses, 2 of them come up. They're wearing kind of a dark green. You come to realize that their entire robes are made of incredibly delicate and well put together snake skin. And they cover their faces somewhat, very long hair. Again, like other drow, their robes very much display their feminine features, and will like take Serena's hand, lead her, and by extension, the lot of you towards a one of the more permanent fixtures here. You notice in one part of the camp, by one of the towers, is a slightly more permanent fixture that appears to be a church, or a very simple sort of a shrine, a walled-off shrine. And there's two of them, and you're being led towards one of them, which has the symbol of kind of like almost like an Ouroboros pattern, but it's not eating its own tail; it just kind of curls to a conclusion, and leads you inside there. Very simple place. There's no pews or anything; just soft fabrics and cushions on the ground. Candles are lit. The candles, some of them are actually green, like they're casting a little bit of green fire. There's a very comforting smell of a little bit of incense, a little bit of mint. The priestesses will say that you will find comfort of the goddess here. Or extend to the ladies, you will find comfort of the goddess here. We are blessed to be in her presence.
I lean in. Yeah, they like you a lot. just keep being noble.
Yeah. I will use the spell to whisper back, and I will say, might be an idea to suggest they leave me in peace so that I can commune with the goddess.
Absolutely. But what I'm going to do first is recommend you take one of their hands and give them like a curtsy, because they might fanboy a little bit. And then I will say, while excuse me, while I wait to see if she does that, I'll say, perhaps it's time to leave her be so she can commune.
Yes, of course. And they will start leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I would offer a hand to sort of for them to kiss potentially than anything.
Oh, they will. Each one of them will, and will leave quite hurriedly and sort of drop the shawl before the door. There's no true door.
Mm.
Well, any conversation in here from this point is going to be very quiet.
Yes.
Just
you are still in the middle of this camp. It is still...
Yeah.
But
Absolutely.
It's a drow camp. It's not that noisy or anything, but, you know, many ears listening.
Yes.
Well, infiltrating the camp itself has so far been successful. The question is... Well, I suppose we wait until they have prepared a stage for us, effectively, or until night falls and Hiraga retires.
Mm.
I wonder, Vale, how easily you could get around and maybe look for Hiraga's lodgings.
I'm sure it'd be quite easy if Vale were invisible.
So upset that we didn't like you at first.
That could work. There is, of course, the slight issue that this door may only appear when Hiraga wishes it. However, I suppose it always appears in the same place. I
Or
could certainly get a better idea. Perhaps even lay my hands upon that orb.
Even just scouting to find out the layout would be helpful. So anything, really.
You can make me invisible?
I can, though my one issue with it is that... Takes like a deep breath. They'll notice that one of us is gone. So we should wait until we're actually retiring to sleep for the night.
I suppose that is true. However, I'm sure you could explain it off.
That I had a request for an item, and I sent one of my servants to get it.
Could work. It'd be awesome to have a witness see them leave. You know, screw it. And she'll reach out and touch your shoulder, casting you invisible.
You.
To explain away the shawl opening, I would like lead the way out and find somebody to speak to, and inform them that the Lady Serena would be requiring a tub of water.
Okay, absolutely fine. And with that, Vale can kind of slip off into the camp completely invisible. What's the plan, Mr. Vale?
So we're gonna go ahead and presume that like this camp has a standard sort of military layout, in that your commander's tent would be on the highest ground. So that's Vale's first instinct, is that he makes his way towards the highest ground, looking for Haraga's door.
Can you give me an investigation check, please?
Oh God. What about a perception?
That's fine. The largest tent does appear to be at the top of the hill, you know, a little bit away from the road that you would passed several times. This is much more, you know, you could have like a dinner in this tent, and that seems to be the purpose for meetings and plannings and things. It's right next to one tower, and you actually see something. You see the door. It's standing free. It's like an archway, like a straight up like archway, proper door, standing free, connected to no walls, open. You can see the back of it, and you can kind of see a light, a red light emanating from it, and you hear this scene going on. To a burly samurai. This is like the most full outfitted samurai you've seen. They even have the flag on the back. They have like this big two-handed sword, and you hear yelling from inside the door in Elvish that, "I don't care what she said that she is. It's clear that this drow going... They have a human slave. A human slave being treated so well. It's a suspicion. It's heresy, if anything. I want that ruby-eyed drow found. I want her questioned. I want her interrogated. And then I don't really care. I want her entire party brought to me. Alright? You will be doing this." And it's like, "Yes, future seer. Yes, my lady. Good. Correct. I'll grant upon you a blessing of flame that even the usurper queen could not quench." And you actually see some magic kind of cascade onto this samurai's blade, and it kind of becomes emblazoned in fire. And he gives like a full bow, and will it's like, "I will see it done, my lady." And walk further into the camp. And then that door closes. And you see the Drider, who is actually behind the tent, walk over to the door. And it's the same one. Seems to be the one Drider in this camp. And actually picks it up. And chains it to her back. Seems so effortless to it, like done a million times.
Well, that's useful to know. She's insanely paranoid.
I mean, the other interesting thing, though, is it makes it potentially a lot easier to find the door. We just have to follow the Drider tracks. I mean, they're pretty unique.
That's true. Why don't we take a wicked quick break here, and Neil can figure out his plan. Yes?
Yes.
You're going to come to us with something big.
I'm not.